And welcome back to my channel. Today I want to come here and talk about sensuality, the art of sensuality, and the art of living sensually and becoming a sensualist. I think that sensuality is very, very important in our daily lives, and people tend to confuse sensuality with sexuality, or they try to replace sexuality with sensuality. But I think that they're quite different, and their difference is even emphasized in the words sexuality versus sensuality. Sexuality is overt, while sensuality is subtle, it's casual. There's an indifference there, but there is a sort of sensitivity there as well. Sexuality, of course, obviously, is about what it emphasizes, while sensuality is about your senses. It's ultimately about engaging your senses, your sense of smell, your vision, your sense of taste, your sense of touch. That's sensuality. And I like to think in images. I think sexuality is bold. It's the lady wearing a a red dress with that red lipstick and being bold and extroverted. While I think sensuality is a little bit more elusive, it's a little shadowy. It's almost like a mirage. It's mysterious. And I love sensuality and I like sensuality as a lifestyle because I encourage it. I encourage living sensually rather than adopting a sensual behavior. I rather you adopt a sensual lifestyle because living sensually promotes peace, it promotes pleasure, and ultimately, I think being a sensualist is just living a life devoted to your pleasure and devoted to, you know, your luxury or your comfort, whatever that means to you. To Epicurus, it just meant living very simply, living, in a way that brought you joy with less pain as possible. That's the whole Epicurean mindset of pleasure and living sensually. Living in the moment has been the advice of plenty sensualists from Epicurus to Camus. It's about peak experiences. It's about moment of extreme pleasure or intense emotion, especially free from guilt or anxiety. Sensuality is about slow living. It's about engaging the senses in comfort, in beauty, in ecstasy. And to me, the goal of sensuality is to reach ecstasy. It's a state where you're completely content with your life. You're grateful about your life. You're unaffected by petty things or uncontrollable circumstances. Because if you're in a state of constant ecstasy, of a constant flow, you're more satisfied with yourself. And of course, it's wonderful if this ecstasy is reached without the help of drugs or, other substances, but rather just achieved by living sensually. And yeah, when I think of ecstasy, I like to think about the etymology of this word, and it is a Greek word which just meant ecstasis, meaning entrancement or astonishment. And then later on, the meaning sort of shifted to meaning an exalted state of good feeling. And when I think about living sensually, I'm immediately reminded of the cult of Dionysus and the Bacchus, essentially, where, during a period of time, um, there was like a religious ritual where everybody sort of, I think the simplified version is where everybody went not mad, but they just let go of all of that restraint and they drank and they had orgies. And they sort of fell into a madness. And of course, living sensually does not require you to go to that extreme, but it is important to be able to let go of certain constraints in life. And that's why I think that Dionysian madness is so important in living sensually. So, the first step in the art of sensuality or the art of living sensually is the Dionysian madness. And the Dionysian madness is important because one, it releases constraints, because life rarely gives us the opportunities to let go because we're bound by societal expectations. We have so many stressors, and the Dionysian madness really allows for the relaxation of those expectations. It's about finding a safe space for that primal instinct in you, and that energy can be expressed through art, through video games, through role playing, through journaling, dancing naked, forest bathing. There are lots of ways for you to be able to let go of those instincts and that pent up frustration and energy. Secondly, I think that the Dionysian madness is also a spiritual um expression, whatever that means to you, because it expresses a desire to be one with the divine, to be one with nature, to find beauty in nature, even in the most chaotic part of nature. So I think that the first step to really living sensually is to embrace that madness, embrace and release constraints from your life, and release other people's expectations, and live life the way you really want to live your life. That's the first step. And I think that it's important to keep in mind that the goal of living sensually really is to achieve an exalted state, that ecstasy, ecstatic state, where you're just in a flow generally, you flow through life, you flow above all of the pettiness and the uncontrollable things that, the worrisome things that you cannot control. And the first step in achieving that exalted state is mindfulness. Drop into your body, into your psyche, observe your feelings, your thoughts, and your physical sensations. So the first step in living sensually is mindfulness. The second step I would say is to slow down, Notice the little things in your environment. Notice the paint that's peeling off the corner of your wall somewhere, or the plant that's growing in a nuke in your garden somewhere. Notice the little things about life. That's very beautiful. Third step I would say is to pamper yourself. Get massages, get pedicures, get saunas. You can do it yourself if for some reason you're not able to have somebody else do it, but pamper yourself. Seduce yourself as well. Buy yourself flowers, cook some good food, cook food that is nutritious, that is filling, outsource your chores if possible. Imagine yourself as a potential partner or potential romantic partner, and imagine how you would treat that partner, but do that to yourself, if that makes any sense. The next step, of course, is to indulge your senses. You cannot live sensually without indulging your senses. That's the whole point of living sensually. So use sweet smelling lotions, use your favorite fragrances, explore new fragrances as well. um, you know, get creams, get butters, get oils, those perfumes, use gentle fabrics, sleep in your silk pajamas on your cotton bed sheet or your silk bed sheet, or some cotton, or sleep in some cotton as well. Your cashmere sweater, your Angora fabric. It's very beautiful to use gentle fabrics because they feel so good on your skin. They make you feel great. Another step is to worship beauty. You have to surround yourself with beautiful things. Don't just use things for an aesthetic value. I think that you can find inspiration when you're surrounded by beautiful things, So buy things that are, just not because that they're functional, but also because they also have an aesthetic value. They inspire some sort of creativity within you. So instead of buying a normal, generic toothbrush, buy a very interesting looking toothbrush, or instead of buying a very normal sponge for washing dishes, buy a very interesting funky sponge. Instead of buying a normal mirror, buy a bedazzled mirror. What's stopping you from getting a bedazzled mirror? So find things that are beautiful and replace them with the ugly functional things in your house. The next step, of course, is to create rituals and establish ceremonies for all aspects of your life. Ceremonies and rituals are so important in keeping you in a flow state because you don't really have to think about, this is what I want to do next. You already have it as a ritual. So create your beauty rituals, your skincare, for your nights, routines, create a ritual for that. So you're constantly moving through flows, through states where, this is the set of activities that you would want to accomplish. And you don't really have to think much about it. And you're also more organized in your rituals and ceremonies. Of course, take some time in nature and reconnect with the natural world. Explore your sexuality by taking boudoir photos, dance naked, sleep naked, I guess be a model, take selfies, naked selfies, just have fun with yourself. And of course, dancing. Dancing is so important in connecting with your feminine energy because it allows for free movement and connecting with your body and enjoying the present moment and expressing yourself and enjoying music. Music is very, very, very lifting. And it has its own vibrations and it does something to you. And dancing is a great a great accompaniment, a great complement to music. And I love belly dancing. I think it's so feminine, it's so freeing, just moving your bodies in very beautiful ways is a very important tenet to belly dancing. But of course, any other type of dancing does that job as well. I love belly dancing. I love taking heels classes. They're so fun just to be able to connect with other women and explore moving our bodies in certain ways. So find a type of dance that interests you and embrace the mistakes because it's a part of the learning experience. Listen to your body, take breaks if needed, and be patient and enjoy your journey through dancing. Some other more tips, I would say watch romantic or comedic movies. They're so funny, they're so nice. I think it's good to engage in media that's positive and in media that expresses the sort of life that you would want. So take some time to watch romantic or comedic movies. Use scented candles and dress sexy at home. I mean, who says dressing sexy just has to be, for when you go out? Dress sexy at home, wear a nice dress while washing dishes or cleaning your house a bit. Of course, get off your phone and spend time alone outside of social media influence. I know it's very hard to say, "Oh yeah, I've never been influenced by social media." I mean, I do think that it is important, but other people's lives or other people's opinions should not be the center of your world. Create your own world. I would also say enjoy some sweets. I know sugar is bad for you, but occasionally I think it's good to indulge your sweet taste a little bit, your sweet tooth. Enjoy something savory, enjoy something sweet sometimes. Take long meditative baths, mm, long baths with shower bombs and a nice bath is always so refreshing and so reinvigorating. So take a nice long meditative bath, explore your city, be adventurous and go out and go to the grocery store that in the side of the town that you've never been to, go on a walk that is different from your neighborhood, drive to a random place and just take a walk over there. Visit new art museums, if you're going to go to a restaurant, go to the next town over and go to a restaurant over there. Be adventurous and explore your surroundings a bit more. I would say flirt casually. Flirting doesn't always have to be super serious. Just I think it's always fun to go out there and just flirt and be in your feminine energy and explore without being attached. So flirt casually. I would say if you like being social, or even if you don't like being social, I think it's also a very important thing to host your friends because it's more time. It's with family. It's more time with friends. It's not always great to be isolated all the time. Take the time to develop your relationships with friends and your family. Learn to make cocktails or mocktails, learn new recipes, and of course, share them with your friends that you're hosting. I think it's a fun thing to do. Create new recipes, create new mocktails, learn how to, you know, create a nice cocktail and share it with your friends, share with your family while they're over. Decorate your space, learn to create a nice, warm environment. Learn to create a space that you enjoy and you look forward to being there. Practice yin yoga. I think it's great because yin yoga is a meditative practice and it also helps you get into those muscles that are tight and helps to release all that pent up stress in your body. And listen to music. I love music. Music has always been a way for me to calm myself. Whatever mood I'm in, I know like a sort of music that will accompany me. Or if I want to get into a certain mood, I know the music that's definitely going to help me get into that mood. So music is a great way to explore your tastes in music and express yourself as well, and arrange flowers. I think flowers are fun. I think they're a great hobby to be able to arrange flowers. Get a handbook and know what certain flowers mean. Like rose symbolizes love and all of that. I think learning the history and the symbolism of flowers is also a great way to add to your learning experiences while learning to arrange flowers. And that could be a little fun hobby or side business that you could do. And drive a fast car or ride a motorcycle for a sense of freedom. I think adrenaline is also really important in spicing up your life and living life the way you want it to be. So sometimes I guess speed on the highway, do it safely, of course, but add a little bit of adrenaline to your life, whether you go skydiving or bungee diving and stuff like that. Add a bit of adrenaline to your life and use unique objects. Like I've mentioned before with the toothbrush, instead of buying a generic toothbrush, buy something interesting, Go on a trip to Mexico and find a toothbrush that's is unique and use that. Or go to Spain and find a really cool looking pillow and use that pillow instead of like a normal pillow you'd buy at a Home Depot or whatever or wherever you buy pillows. Go to I don't know, Mongolia and buy a unique looking cup. Buy objects that are unique and have a certain history behind them. That's also really good, I think. Um, I think when people think about sensuality and living sensually, they also, for some reason, think about decadence and expense and excess and just unnecessarily luxury. And I think there is some truth to that. But when I think about living sensually, I think about refinement rather than excess. And refinement is not something that comes from excesses or hedonism or decadence in a way. I think refinement is what comes from discipline. Because hedonism is or excess is going to the store and buying 20, 35 clothes that you don't need. While refinement is going to the store and buying one, probably expensive, but one item that will last you for a very long time. that is refinement. And I think that's what sensuality and living sensually is. It's something that does not require excessive indulgence. It's about having a balanced approach and focusing on quality and being in the present moment. I think sensualists become perceptive and become more sensitive to things that are refined rather than things that are just there for, I guess, bragging purposes, or things that are just there to engage the ego rather than have a value or a sort of aesthetic value, or used as a tool to reach their goal of ecstasy. Because remember, this is what it's about. Living sensually, it's about ecstasy and reaching, have being in a state of ecstasy. Um, Sensuality titillates the senses. It provokes admiration or wonder. It's a psychological state. You know, it does not exclude um the physical, because the physical is also a part of it, but it's mostly a psychological state. It's about being present in the moment. And their life, the life of a sensualist, is an art. It's filled with ritual, it's filled with ceremony. um it's a very important and I think freeing way of living, because it's about you. It's about what you want as a person, regardless of other people. It's about embracing your life and embracing a life without constraints and a life without outside expectations. So, living sensually is an important aspect of life. It's not just a tool to get a mate, it's a tool in having the best life possible. Okay, guys, this is the end of the video. I hope you really learned a lot. I hope you enjoyed it. Remember that living sensually is about embracing the soft life. It's about embracing life with comfort and life without worry or anxiety. And I want you to remember that your energy, whatever you give attention to, is what flourishes. Whatever aspect of your life you give energy to, whether it be negative or positive, it will grow and it will flourish. That's why it's very important to me to live a life of sensuality, because all of your energy is going into creating a life of peace, into creating a life of balance and of comfort. I really hope you enjoyed this video and I hope you have a wonderful day. Remember to like and remember to subscribe. Have a good day, my darlings.